Picture this. You're sitting in a lunch break room somewhere in Australia, eating a sandwich you made at home to save money, scrolling through your phone and wondering if the career you chose is quietly killing your chances of ever becoming a millionaire. That feeling is more common than you think. And today, we're going to answer the question properly. Which jobs in Australia actually make people millionaires? Not theoretically, not eventually maybe, but realistically, with real numbers, real timelines, and the real path most people never get shown. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Becoming a millionaire in Australia is less about your job title and more about the gap between what you earn and what you keep. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That gap is dramatically easier to create at certain income levels. So the job you choose is still one of the most powerful levers you have. Let's break it down. The first category is what I call the classic high-income professions. Surgeons, anesthetists, and specialist doctors sit at the very top of the Australian income ladder. A specialist physician in Australia earns between $300,000 and $600,000 a year. After tax, even at the top marginal rate, you're clearing $180,000 to $350,000 annually. If you invest just 40% of your take-home pay into a diversified share portfolio returning 8% per year, you hit $1 million in under 7 years. The trade-off is real. A decade of university, brutal training hours, and a career that doesn't truly start until your mid-30s. But for the people who make it through, the financial runway on the other side is extraordinary. Lawyers sit in a similar category, though the range is wider. A junior solicitor might start at $70,000, but a partner at a top-tier firm in Sydney or Melbourne can pull $500,000 to over $1 million a year. The path is long and highly competitive, but the earning ceiling is almost unlimited. The key for lawyers is avoiding the lifestyle trap. The moment income scales up, so does the mortgage, the car, the school fees. The lawyers who become genuinely wealthy are the ones who treat their first $200,000 salary like it's still $100,000. Now let's talk about the job category most people underestimate: trades. A licensed electrician in Australia earns between $80,000 and $130,000 a year as an employee, but an electrician who runs their own business, even a small one with 2 or 3 workers, can clear $200,000 to $400,000 in profit. The same applies to plumbers, builders, and civil construction contractors. Australia's infrastructure pipeline is enormous right now. The federal government has committed over $120 billion to infrastructure spending over the next decade. That means consistent, high-paying work for skilled tradespeople for years to come. And here's the part that matters. A tradie who starts their own business at 28, keeps their lifestyle modest, and invests consistently can hit $1 million in net worth by their early 40s. No university debt, no decade of training, just skill, discipline, and ownership. Technology is the next category, and it deserves its own spotlight. Australia's tech sector has exploded. A senior software engineer at a major tech company in Sydney or Melbourne earns between $150,000 and $250,000 in base salary. Add in stock options, bonuses, and remote work opportunities with US-based employers paying in US dollars, and you're looking at total compensation that can push past $400,000 for experienced engineers. The path into tech is also more accessible than ever. Some of the highest-paid developers in Australia today started with a self-taught coding bootcamp, not a computer science degree. The skill matters more than the credential in this industry, and that changes everything about who gets access to these salaries. Finance and investment banking sit in their own tier. A graduate analyst at an investment bank in Sydney starts around $100,000. Within 5 years, a high performer can be earning $300,000 to $500,000, including bonus. At the managing director level, total compensation can reach 7 figures. The hours are brutal, especially in the early years. 60 to 80-hour weeks are standard, but the wealth-building speed at these income levels is almost unmatched. Many investment bankers who stay disciplined are millionaires before they turn 40, sometimes well before. Now here's a category nobody puts on these lists: business ownership. Not starting a tech unicorn or disrupting an industry, just owning a boring, profitable, scalable Australian small business. A well-run accounting practice, a successful physiotherapy clinic, a cleaning company with commercial contracts, a digital marketing agency. These businesses generate $200,000 to $500,000 in owner profit without requiring genius or luck, just execution and consistency. The Australian small business sector employs over 5 million people. The owners of those businesses businesses are quietly building generational wealth, while most people are focused on climbing someone else's corporate ladder. Real estate is woven into almost every millionaire story in Australia. And while property investing alone isn't a job, property development is. Developers who identify undervalued sites, manage construction, and sell or hold completed projects can generate returns that dwarf most professional salaries. Even at a modest scale, developing a dual occupancy property in Brisbane or Adelaide can generate $150,000 to $300,000 in profit per project. Do 2 or 3 of those a decade, and the compounding effect on your net worth is significant. But here's the thing that connects every single one of these paths. The job gets you to a high income. The behavior gets you to $1 million. There are surgeons in Australia earning $400,000 a year who will never be millionaires because they spend $390,000. And there are teachers, nurses, and public servants earning $80,000 who will absolutely become millionaires because they invest consistently, avoid lifestyle inflation, and give compounding the time it needs. The numbers are straightforward. If you earn $100,000 a year and invest $20,000 annually into a portfolio returning 8%, you hit $1 million in under 21 years. If you earn $200,000 and invest $60,000 a year at the same return, you're there in under 12 years. Every dollar you can move from spending to investing collapses the timeline. That's the real formula. And Australia gives you structural advantages that most countries don't. Superannuation is a forced saving system that's already building wealth in the background. If you're 30 years old with $50,000 in super today and you never contribute another cent beyond the compulsory 11.5%, you'll likely retire with over $400,000 in super just from growth. Add voluntary contributions on top of that, and the numbers shift dramatically. Many Australians are already closer to millionaires than they realize. So, what's the actual answer? If you want the fastest path, medicine, law, investment banking, and senior tech roles give you the income velocity to get there quickly, assuming you don't blow it on lifestyle. If you want the most accessible path without a decade of study or brutal early career hours, skilled trades with a business ownership mindset is genuinely underrated and underutilized. If you want the most scalable path with the lowest ceiling, building or buying a boring, profitable small business in a growing sector is where quiet wealth gets built in this country. The million-dollar question was never really about which job pays the most. It was always about which path you can actually commit to. Stay on long enough and resist the urge to inflate your lifestyle as your income grows. That discipline, more than any job title, is what separates the people who talk about becoming millionaires from the ones who quietly become them. If this video gave you a clearer picture of where you stand and where you could go, hit the like button and subscribe. New videos every week on building real wealth in Australia. I'll see you in the next one.